Annyeong Buzz, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into K-pop stories, idols, and the kind of behind-the-scenes details that fans love to know but don't always get to hear about in one place. Today we're going to talk about someone who is often described as mysterious, multi-talented, and actually a little underrated considering his impact. Jun from 17. Yes, Wen Junhai, or as fans know him, simply Jun. Now, if you're a Carat, you know that every member of 17 has their own charm, but Jun's story is so unique that it almost feels like a K-drama script written in real life. Born in Shenzhen, Guangdong, China, he actually started out as a child actor before becoming an idol. That in itself is already fascinating, because not many idols had such a strong entertainment background before joining K-pop. But what makes Jun stand out isn't just that, it's his resilience. Think about this. Jun was only 2 years old when his parents divorced, and later he even played a role in matchmaking his mom with his stepdad. Can you imagine being only 8 years old and already being such a thoughtful presence in your family's life? That says a lot about his character from such a young age. And he also has a younger half-brother, Yang Yang, who's 10 years younger, which honestly makes Jun feel even more like that dependable older sibling figure, not just at home, but also in 17. And here's something that really struck me. Jun's journey into K-pop wasn't a random decision. He said that a lot of Chinese students loved K-pop, and that's what made him curious. Eventually, he moved to Korea, trained for 2 years and 7 months, and debuted with 17. Imagine being a teenager, leaving your home country, your family, everything you're familiar with, just to chase a dream in another culture and another language. That alone deserves respect. But here's where his story gets even more emotional. As a child, Jun was heavily into martial arts. He practiced wushu, competed in tournaments, and even won medals. That's already impressive, but there's a darker part to it. During one competition, he injured his waist. Instead of telling his parents, he tried to hide it, not wanting them to worry. Later, the injury turned out to be much more serious than anyone expected. He was diagnosed with spinal tuberculosis. The treatment lasted 10 months, and it still affects his dancing today. Now pause for a second and really think about that. Jun is part of 17's performance team. Dancing isn't just a hobby for him. It's his career, his artistry, his identity. And yet, he carries a physical condition that makes it harder for him to move as freely as others. But does he let it stop him? No. In fact, he pushes himself so hard that sometimes fans don't even realize he's carrying that history with him. Honestly, that's not just inspiring, it's humbling. I want to throw this question to you guys. Knowing Jun's struggles with his injury, does it change the way you look at his performances now? Because for me, every time I watch him dance, there's this extra layer of admiration. He's not just executing choreography, he's defying limitations. Moving on to some lighter facts. Let's talk about his personality and habits, because wow, Jun is full of interesting quirks. Did you know he sometimes sleeps with his eyes open? Imagine being his roommate and just walking past, seeing him like that. It must have been terrifying for the other members. No wonder they teased him about it. And apparently, he's everyone's alarm clock in 17. He naturally wakes up earlier than the others and takes it upon himself to wake them up too. Which honestly, I think says a lot about his role in the group. Sungkwan even called him the mother of the group, and I can see why. Jun is dependable, nurturing, but also has this slightly mischievous side with his snacks. Yes, he hides snacks in his bag, but the problem is, his members often find them and eat everything. I feel like that's so relatable, having your favorite snacks stolen by family members or friends. Now let's talk about his tastes. He loves spicy and sour foods, with favorites like braised spicy chicken, oxtail soup, hot pot, and luosifin, which if you've ever tried it, you know has a very strong smell, but is incredibly delicious. He also loves lemon gummies and jelly snacks. But what he doesn't like, eggplant, white rice, and cow blood sausage. That makes me curious though, for those of you watching, what's one food you absolutely cannot stand, no matter how it's cooked? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to see if anyone shares Jun's dislike for eggplant. Another interesting thing about Jun is his fashion sense. He says he prefers dressing up, but his style really depends on the day. Sometimes he's casual, other times he goes hip-hop like the A8 or Vernon, and sometimes he tries Joshua's stylish vibe. That flexibility actually reflects his personality too. Remember, his MBTI has changed multiple times, from INFP to INTP to ESFP. And honestly, I think that makes sense because he has that Gemini energy. He even admitted that his emotions can change quickly and that he sometimes feels like there's another person inside of him. But let's not forget his talents outside of dancing. Jun can play the piano, he enjoys singing Chinese songs, though he feels shy performing them in front of the members, and he still loves acting. Honestly, I feel like Jun could easily pursue acting full-time in the future if he ever wanted to. He already has the background, the visuals, and the emotional depth from his personal experiences. What do you guys think? Would you like to see Jun star in a K-drama or maybe even a Chinese drama in the future? Personally, I think he would absolutely nail those roles that require both vulnerability and strength. Speaking of acting, one thing I admire about Jun is how he sees life. In an interview, he once said, "A human's life is long. Try out the things you're interested in. If you do that, I think you'll be able to grow naturally." That mindset really resonates with me, and maybe it will with some of you too. So many times, we feel pressured to figure everything out right away. What career we should choose, who we want to be, what our path should look like. But Jun's approach is refreshing. He's not afraid to explore, to experiment, to just try things. And honestly, isn't that what life is supposed to be about? Another fascinating detail is how close he is with the 8. Both of them left their families in China to pursue their dreams in Korea, and because of that, they don't just see 17 as a group or work, they see it as family. That bond is so deep, and it shows in how they support each other. I think fans really feel that closeness too. Sometimes when you watch them interact, it almost feels like you're watching brothers who grew up together. And Jun's friendships outside of 17 are also worth noting. He's close with idols like Pentagon's Yanan and NCT members Chenli, Renjun, Lucas, and Xiaojun. That network of friendships reminds me that idols, despite being busy and always in the spotlight, still crave connections with people who understand the same struggles. It's like they build their own support system outside of their main group. Now, let's touch on something fans always love: visuals. Jun is undeniably handsome. He even ranked 81st on TC Candler's 100 Most Handsome Faces of 2016. But what I love most is how he doesn't take it too seriously. He ranks himself 3rd most handsome in 17, which is both humble and hilarious, because honestly, he could easily place himself higher and nobody would argue. He also has a playful side when it comes to style and identity. His stage name, Jun, came straight from his real name Junhui, and the meaning behind his name is actually so symbolic. Moon means good at studying, Jun means handsome, and Hui means I can do better. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's the perfect summary of who he is. Intelligent, attractive, but always striving to improve himself. Let's not forget his role models, Zhomi and Henry. He admires them for being loved in both China and Korea, and you can tell that's also his dream, to bridge cultures, to be recognized as an entertainer who belongs to both worlds. And in many ways, I think he's already achieving that. His 2023 digital single Psycho showed off his artistry, and his ability to release solo music while still being an active member of 17 proves his versatility. Now, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think Jun should release a full solo album one day? Maybe with both Chinese and Korean tracks? Personally, I would love that. I think it would showcase the very best of who he is, an artist who moves fluidly between cultures, languages, and genres. And then there are his everyday quirks, the small things that make him so relatable. He doesn't like plain white rice, so he often gives it to Woozi. He sneaks around with snacks, but gets caught. He plays the piano, reads fantasy novels, and even cooks shabu-shabu for his members. That balance between being this incredibly talented performer on stage and just a normal guy with his own little preferences is what makes him so endearing to fans. One last thing I want to highlight is Jun's resilience and outlook on life. Remember that spinal tuberculosis diagnosis? For some people, that would have been the end of their dreams. But for Jun, it wasn't. He came back, stronger, more determined, and now he stands on some of the biggest stages in the world as part of 17. For me, that's the ultimate takeaway. It's not just about talent, it's about perseverance, mindset, and the ability to keep going when things get tough. So, to all of you watching, I want to leave you with this question. What's one thing you've kept pursuing despite the challenges? Share it in the comments, because I think Jun's story reminds us that persistence really does pay off. And with that, let's wrap this up. Jun is more than just 17's lead dancer or sub-vocalist. He's an actor, a martial artist, a musician, a thinker, and above all, a fighter who never lets setbacks define him. The next time you watch him on stage, remember the journey he's been through, the injuries, the sacrifices, the choices. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see not just an idol, but a human story unfolding in front of you. All right, Buzz family, that's it for today's deep dive. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more idol profiles like this, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. And as always, thank you for spending your time with me. This has been Anyang Buzz, signing off. Until next time, keep buzzing.